you know.
Yeah,
we all have to be hand in hand and believing in the same project and stuff like that.
I want to actually say something that, you know, I'm maybe a little embarrassed about, but from a media standpoint, I had a preconceived notion of Angela because I looked at her as you know, a child of privilege who I'm seeing on a reality TV show and all of these things. And so when she first launched her line, of course it was so easy for all of us to be like, you know, it's like lucky kid who gets to put out, you know, put her name on something.
Wait, but I don't even have my line out yet.
But you were always working in fashion, and we would get the press releases, and a lot of us would be like, yeah, because a lot of celebrities put their name on something, you know, they get a check and then they forget about it, and they never had any input in the first place. But you would see the follow through and the discipline and the dedication that she would put into all of these things that you guys were working on as a family and individually. And I don't think that there's anybody in the media who doesn't take her name seriously now because of that. So it's a process. Of course, it changes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I must say that I get that perception a lot. Like, a lot of people think because of where I come from that it's pretty much given to me, and it's not. You know, like my uncle and my father, they may be there for advice, but at the end of the day, I'm out here and I'm doing it all myself. You know, I'll go to them for advice, but they're not like, here's some money to start your line. You know, like my website, which is shopangelaim.com, I did it all myself, you know, and I'm learning as I go, and I'm asking for opinions, and, you know, I'm learning. But no one actually gave me that. I'm doing it. You know, everything I do, I work hard for, and I love it. So, you know, I'm just going to continue to do it. But thank you.
You're welcome. I have to say, Angela, that unlike Miss Info in the beginning, for some reason, I watched Angela on TV early on, and I've watched her grow. So I think it was at what store was it? The Harry Vendel. I got the email to RSVP, and I wanted to go. So one of the first questions was like, why, you know, what brings you here? And I was like, I wanted to support her because I know that people think that this might come easy because she comes from that background. But I can see how hard, just by watching how hard she works and how much she's grown, and I'm so proud because people might just think it comes easy, but actually it's harder because these, you know, her family, you know, they've done this for so many years that it's kind of like you have to prove yourself twice. So I already kind of, I kind of looked at her and I knew already.
Yeah, like the opportunity is just the beginning. So it's like, what are you going to do with the open window?
It's very true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So I want to ask you guys, how many in this room have actually reached out and supported a classmate or a peer of theirs by going to an event? Or awesome.
I lift my hand because I can't see.
Yeah.
You do it.
Very good.
I think actually that number of hands is different now than it was for a lot of us because I remember times when, you know, other women of color kind of resented that I was an Asian person in the hip hop game, and either they thought that they automatically assumed that I wouldn't know what the culture was about, or they might have felt like this slot should be saved for one of us. And I think that that's something that now doesn't exist. I'm really happy that, you know, that even if I suffered, you know, in the past, for it to be non-existent now, I'm happy about that all the time.
Definitely. And you definitely represent 100% of the culture. So speaking of representing for the culture, how does what you do immediately serve a greater part of your industry or your audience?
I would say being able to inspire and to help. For me, the biggest thing that I'm doing right now is something called Girl Talk Takeover, and I'm going into boys and girls clubs, and I started a program for young females where we pretty much give these girls what they want and need, which means, you know, giving them community exposure to the things that they can do in their community on their free time and things to build their college resume. Bringing in a chef to teach them how to eat and what they should be eating, fitness, yoga, all these great things. And then what they want would be like hair, nails, makeup, you know, pretty much a makeover, but really helping their self-esteem. And I did my first one last year, and I thought, like, wow, like these girls were really impacted. It was an amazing event. And I'm doing my second one this year, and I raised $12,000 for it, and I'm really excited. And we touch about 250 girls' lives, and they go back and they talk to their friends, and it spreads. So to me, that's the best thing that I could be doing. It's July 31st. I'm doing it in Jersey City. The first one was in Newark. Wow.
She giving back the whole time.
I would say, for me, on one side of it, it's, we help artists or people who want to become artists realize their dreams, right? So a lot of the artists that I work with are new artists, developing artists, people who just got record deals, and we're helping them realize their dreams. And on the other side of it, it is sort of trying to manage messages that come out into the public. For me as a woman, I feel some sort of responsibility, because we all know what music is like, and music is art, and I totally support that. But at the same time, we also know that a lot of times the messages in music can be misogynistic or, violent or negative. So what I try to do is I try to make sure that the artists that I work with specifically also do things to counter that. So, working with them with their charitable organizations, making sure that they do things outside of the music space that are going to give back to the community as well.
Because I work with so many different brands and a lot of different celebrities, my greatest joy is to help them to kind of do what they can, because use that extra $10K in their budget a year that might be in marketing, and do a Halloween party at Ronald McDonald House, or for example, one of the companies I do a lot of work with is Alice and Olivia. And I was telling Angela earlier, it's like, it's amazing because it's 200 people work there. It's like a $150 million company, and there's a woman who owns it, the president's a woman, the vice president's a woman, and 150 of the people who work there are all women. And so, we are always creating projects to support other women and children. And so one of my, passions is to also go into the culture of those businesses that have so many women who work for them, and be like, how are we making sure that women feel supported in the industry? Like, how do we, make sure that, we're not following the rules? Because, I don't follow rules. Everyone should know that about me. I don't follow them. Whether it's in a corporate environment, an artistic environment, especially in a corporate one, because, listen, all those rules were not built for women to win. So I don't care. I throw them all out the window, and I always do whatever I want. So, that said, we sit there, we're when we have our monthly meetings, I'm like, you know what? The benefit of having a president and an owner of a company be women is that if a woman is having a problem in her life, here, that might have to do with being a mother or being with child or whatever it may be, she should feel comfortable to talk about it in that environment, to be like, because on Wall Street she can't. She can't go to her boss. She has to hide and kind of, shrink her womanhood in that rat race, And I always tell them, I'm like, as women in these companies, why are we using all the tools the man made to build his house to break down his house? So, for me, my favorite thing is to go into cultures of different companies and artists and friends who are, celebrities and have the power of their voice reaching such magnitude, and being like, how are we breaking the rules for women? How are we making it better? How are we giving ourselves better? I have this thing. I do a lot of women's groups, and I just my friend Katy Perry, we just started a women's group where we just get together just to be women and talk about being women, and then how we want to help other women. And I have 2 here, I have one in New Orleans, I have one in LA, and it's important. And I think that we have to do that. We have to break the rules and don't follow them. You're new one.
I absolutely love that. I hope you guys are taking notes. I know I'm taking mental notes. I will not use any resource that the men has built, has put into to build a business at all.
Yeah. that.
They're all thrown out the window.
And by the way, they're all failing, you know, and as a young